Good morning, Malta and Gozo, and welcome to another episode of Lovin Daily. My name is JP, and today I'm joined by Tim, and this episode is brought to you by eCabs. eCabs currently has a massive giveaway worth €20,000, including a whole year's worth of free rides with eCabs. All you need to do is follow these 3 steps to participate in the competition. Download the eCabs app, book yourself a ride and opt into eCab Circle from our app, and share the video and tag 3 friends in the comment section below. The video link will be made available in the comment section as well. Just a quick reminder that we currently are running our Loving Milad campaign, which is a charitable campaign for the less fortunate in Malta during this festive season. You can be a part of it, and you too can donate over at lovindeals.com. We have a number of gift bags that will go out to people in need across Malta this Christmas season. The deadline for it is tomorrow night, so if you feel charitable, if you want to get in the Christmas spirit of giving, then head over to lovindeals.com and purchase a gift bag. And this episode also features a special interview with Christina Layman from the Arno Gesri Foundation, which is an NGO which runs an orphanage in Madagascar, so stay tuned for the very end for that Lovin Malta interview. And here are our 5 headlines for today. Keith Shembri, Jorgen Fenech, Silvio Valletta and Joe Kashiri had a private WhatsApp group. That has been confirmed. Francesca Zara faced disciplinary action for viral TikTok dance video. Charmaine Gauci dedicates Giechi Republica to healthcare workers and frontliners. Well-renowned chef to open Lebanese fast food joint in Gzira. And Maltese artist makes shortlist for UK Portrait Artist of the Year. Tim?
Yes, so another day, another WhatsApp group, this time featuring Keith Shembri, the former Chief of Staff of the Prime Minister, Jorgen Fenech, the main suspect in the murder of Daphne Caruana Galizia, the former Deputy Police Chief Silvio Valletta, who was also in charge of investigating homicides, and Joe Kashiri, who was until recently the head of the financial regulator at the MFSA. Now, this was confirmed by Keith Shembri yesterday when he testified at the public inquiry which is looking into the circumstances around the brutal assassination. And although no details were about this chat or anything about it were revealed, the very existence of it does really show a nature of friendliness between a man charged with this brutal murder and people in the very highest corridors of power. So we're talking the most powerful person in government, the second most powerful person in the police, and the most powerful person in the financial world, like all in the same WhatsApp group. You can imagine what they spoke about. Maybe we'll find out soon, because the public inquiry has also officially said that it wants to look at the contents of Jorgen Fenech's phone, which was recently presented to court by Europol experts, and they said they could have it in hand by next month, by January. So yes, there's going to be we expect quite a lot of information to come out of these chats. And remember that this guy Jorgen Fenech was, before his arrest, he was one of the top businessmen in Malta. We know now that he was very close with many politicians and key members of society, and yes, these chats are expected to reveal this level of closeness.
Yeah, on a similar vein, I don't know if you saw yesterday, but the New Yorker posted quite a detailed article about the long quest by Daphne Caruana Galizia's 3 sons to seek justice for her murder. It goes quite in depth, it's quite emotional, and it just kind of shows a different side to the whole story and the challenges they faced throughout. A very interesting read if you're into that. Moving on to our second story, Francesca Zara, the police officer whose viral TikTok dance video went viral 7 months ago, had faced disciplinary action, it was revealed. If you cast your mind back 7 months ago, the police officer had uploaded a video of herself dancing in uniform to a TikTok video. It went viral, spread like wildfire, and Malta was completely divided about about what to make of it, whether it was acceptable for her to be doing this stuff in a uniform or not. Malta's found out that in fact Zara was subject to internal investigation, and however 7 months later the outcome of that investigation still remains private. Despite the rumors that Zara might be charged with computer misuse, police have just confirmed that she did not end up facing any charges and is still a member of the Malta police force. Having said that, the police also confirmed that Zara was indeed subject to internal disciplinary proceedings, the nature of which the police did not disclose. So what do you make of all of this?
Yeah, very sad, right? I mean, remember, this is just a police officer who uploaded a video, a funny video onto TikTok. I don't know, why should she get punished for that? I think it's just a bit unfair. I mean, remember, like a few months ago, there was quite a large petition going around. People like then opposition leader Adrian Delia had, criticized the police for taking a stance against her. People like Pepe Azzopardi and Brian Hansford also took a stance against it. I think around 6,000 people had signed this petition, but yeah, she has been punished, unfortunately. Moving on, Charmaine Gauci has dedicated her recent Jihir Republica award to all the healthcare workers and first responders and frontliners for their work throughout the pandemic. So just a bit quick recap, Charmaine Gauci and 3 other medical experts, Chris Barbara, Charles Maliazzopardi and Stephen Montfort, were awarded the Jihir Republica, Malta's highest honour, last Sunday on Republic Day. And Paul Page, the head of the nurses union, said that while their work should be recognised, it's unfair that they were singled out. The point being that the award should have gone to all the hospitals, with the CEO representing each hospital, because each hospital played their part and is still playing their part in the pandemic, and not only the people who are perhaps most famous in Malta. However, Charmaine Gauci said that my award isn't just for me, but for all the frontliners. You can't have a Jihir Republica ceremony without a little bit of controversy, right?
No, absolutely. And just to give you a recap on Malta's COVID-19 situation, yesterday 101 new cases were registered, along with 150 new recoveries. This brings the country's total active cases down to 1761. Unfortunately, there were five COVID-19 patients who passed away yesterday, bringing the country's virus death toll up to 174. Condolences, obviously, to their friends and families in this hard, difficult time. Moving on to our third story, well-renowned chef is set to open his new Lebanese restaurant in Gzira. This one, Hani Harb, who is quite a popular and beloved figure for his restaurant Alibaba, is now opening a new eatery in Gzira. This with his wife Claudine. The restaurant, which is going to be called Baba, will be serving Lebanese food, but will adopt a bit of a different culinary style than what we're used to. Essentially, what it is Lebanese fast food Lebanese food, and the idea is, to offer authentic Lebanese food, but perfect for an on-the-go, consume on-the-go kind of scenario. Alibaba, is known for its tasteful and delectable Lebanese dishes, and I'm sure a lot of people can't wait for the second rendition of Hani Harb's restaurant, which is aptly named Baba instead.
Yeah, if it's anything like the nearby Syrian fast food joints, then it's something that I'm definitely looking forward to.
Absolutely.
And it's also great to see that some restaurants aren't just, are still looking to be more creative despite the immense challenges and pressure they're under due to the pandemic. So our final story of today, a young Maltese artist, Julia Holland, has just, been elevated to the world stage in quite a big way. So she was recently featured in an episode of Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year, where she basically was tasked with painting a self-portrait, a watercolor self-portrait, and afterwards a portrait of a model who happened to be Kwame Kwai Arma. He's a British actor, got an OBE, and he also acted in some medical show a while ago, I forgot its name. But anyway, it was pretty impressive, and she was praised quite a big deal for it. Unfortunately, she didn't qualify to the next round, but she's still young, and the fact that she made it over there is already an impressive feat for Julia.
Yeah, and the portraits are quite impressive artwork, It's been described as containing hints of surreal elements that capture the mood and character of our subject through the vibrant use of color. It's very impressive stuff, very, very captivating stuff, and congratulations to her for making it that far. It's a very proud achievement. That brings us to the end of our stories. Before we break up, remind you that we have an interview coming up with Christina Layman, who represents the Arnold Guthrie Foundation, which is an NGO which runs an orphanage in Madagascar, so stay tuned for that. This episode was brought to you by eCabs. Don't forget, eCabs are having a massive giveaway at the moment worth 20,000 euros. Part of that giveaway is 1 year of free cab rides with eCabs, which is incredible, especially for Malta, not having to drive around. There are also other prizes, such as an iPhone and whatnot. But we're going to jump to a quick video now presented by eCab before getting into our interview with Christina Layman.
Hey everyone, we've got something huge up for grabs. Probably our biggest and best competition yet, worth a whopping 20,000 euros. And it's super easy to win. We've teamed up with eCabs to give away 1 whole year's worth of free cab rides to 1 lucky winner. That's 12 whole months of ridiculous convenience and efficiency without spending a single cent on transport. They now don't only have the black cabs anymore. Awesome. How do you win? Step 1, download the eCabs app. Step 2, book yourself a ride and opt into the eCabs Circle, which will allow you to save money, earn points, and get some great benefits. Step 3, share this video and tag 3 friends in the comments below. It's really that simple. Now, if an entire year's worth of free cab rides just doesn't do it for you, there's a bunch of other great prizes up for grabs, including a brand new iPhone 12 and so much more. And if you've already booked 1 ride this year, just opt in. Competition ends December 25th at midnight. This sounds almost too good to be true. Just opt in.
Sorry guys, I was stuck in traffic and I really couldn't find parking.
Welcome back to Lovin Daily. With me now is Christina Layman, Secretary of the Arnold Guthrie Foundation, a Maltese NGO which runs an orphanage in Madagascar. Christina, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can you explain to people what your NGO does and the work it does in Madagascar?
Yes, of course. So we're a Maltese registered NGO with the Voluntary Organisations Commission. We've been functioning since 2012, and our main project is a residential crisis centre for children. So we house around 30 children, all of whom have either been severely abused, abandoned, neglected, and we specialise in malnutrition refeeding. So we have 30 children that live with us, and then we have satellite projects in the community, such as we support women in the local prison, and we also do residential care for children in the prison, so they can live with us instead of having to live with their mothers in prison. The refeeding programme is in partnership with the hospitals. We run a summer school for over 100 children from our community, so that children that have to help during like harvest time and can't attend school then can catch up during the summer and then graduate to the next school year. We also run clinics out of our house. So the heart of the project is this crisis centre where we keep mid to long-term residential care children.
And how bad is it? I mean, when you're talking about malnutrition and helping them, ease out of malnutrition, what's the process exactly? It's not just, you can't just feed them, right?
No, absolutely not. So Madagascar has a huge problem with malnutrition. It's actually the 4th highest rate in the world. Over half of Malagasy children suffer from malnutrition, and the effects are long-term and pretty savage. It depends on the severity of the malnutrition, but you need a specialist team and often inpatient care. And in Madagascar, the government can't provide that. So we have, my stepfather was a pediatrician. He designed the program. We do refeeding very, very slowly and monitor the children throughout the process, and we work with the families to then try and reintegrate the children into the family so that they can continue the recovery process themselves. But the recovery process can take up to 3 or 4 years for a child that's been severely malnourished.
Wow, okay. And obviously, you know, like most people around the world, you said that your orphanage has been impacted by the impact of COVID-19.
Absolutely.
How has this been for you?
Yeah, it's been really difficult this year. There's been 3 main issues for us, and I think for a lot of other charities as well, not just us. The funding decreased significantly when the pandemic hit. People weren't sure what was happening with their finances. We rely on private donations like a lot of other NGOs, and a lot of the big grants were suspended for 2020, and we're not sure if they'll be reinstated for 2021. So the money went down, but at the same time the demand for our services went through the roof because communities were more vulnerable, children were more vulnerable, and we were being called on to do more work in the community and take more children on. In addition to which, we take care of vulnerable children. So we have a residential facility with kids, but a lot of our children are unwell, so they're immunosuppressed. We have HIV positive children, children that suffer from sickle cell anemia, children are in the middle of their malnutrition refeeding, and so we have to be extra careful, which has led to an increase in expenses because our staff can no longer use public transport. We have to have private transport to get them in and out of the house, increased medical care, sanitation, and so on. It's also isolated our children quite a lot because they're not able to go to school. We're not able to let them out of the facility to play with friends. So it's also had a social impact on our kids because they're more isolated.
And are the kids aware about how dire the situation is?
We try not to scare them, but at the same time it's really important that they understand the importance of sanitation and hygiene, and that they also understand why we've put certain restrictions in place. We have a full-time nurse, which is sponsored, and he's in charge of explaining to the children at the different ages the importance of washing your hands, maintaining social distance, wearing masks when you're not within our bubble. So they understand parts of it, but we're trying not to sort of scare them too much.
Yes, and you recently launched a petition where you're asking the Maltese public for help, which you know, and you made it quite clear that if this help doesn't arrive, the orphanage will have to close down, and these children will have to be sent back.
Yes,
quite a long way away, and that's.
Yeah. So one of the main things that we try and do, the reason we opened in this region, is that we want to rehabilitate families and send children home in the long term, and we've done that with over 50 children. But if we were to close, there are no other residential facilities in our area, and those children would be sent over 1,500 kilometers away to centres in the capital. And that would make family rehabilitation and reunification almost impossible because the kids get lost in the system and transport in Madagascar is very difficult. So we really need, this is our campaign that a very close friend and supporter set up for us. The point of this is to stabilise us for the next 3 or 4 months so that we can establish how COVID is going to affect us in 2021 and set up some other measures so that we can have longer term stability. But we really need help to get through this, we're calling it like a crisis period, so that we can maintain those activities and work with the government in Madagascar to make sure that we can stabilise the project.
Have you received any kind of feedback in Malta so far?
Yes, our feedback's always positive. I mean, Malta is our biggest supporter. All our friends and family help out. I know people sometimes find it a little bit difficult to understand why they should donate to a charity that works overseas instead of a charity that works in Malta. But our argument is always that we can do both. It's super important that we support local charities working with vulnerable Maltese communities, but there is space to help with overseas communities as well. But the response has been very positive. The campaign is running until the end of January. We've made about €3,500 of the 20 that we need so far. So there are little rewards on the campaign. You can name a chicken in our sustainable projects. You can buy Christmas presents for the kids. You can pay for healthcare, sponsor malnutrition refeeding. So I would encourage people to have a look at what we do. you can reach out to us on Facebook if anyone has any questions at all. It's me or my mum that will answer your Facebook messages. So yeah.
it's you and your mother, right, who run this place?
Yes, my mum, stepfather and I sort of set it up with friends and family, and he passed away sadly, so now it's my mum and I, and all our friends and family get roped into helping us. So yes, that's a pretty great initiative, and as you said, they can reach out to you on your Facebook page. Yes.
This is the Ono Gezri Foundation.
Yes.
Thank you very much for having us. That's all for today. Just a quick reminder that today's episode was brought to you by eCabs, which is running a massive competition at the moment. Details can be found on Lovin Malta's Facebook page, but there are basically prizes worth €20,000 up for grabs. And that's all today, and make sure you follow lovinmalta.com for all the latest updates, and have a day full of loving.